So I recently posted this picture to my wood turning Facebook page, which you all can go check out, and then I shared it to a couple different wood turning groups on Facebook, and it got a lot of questions as far as what this tool is, who makes it, and that kind of thing. So today I thought I would make this video kind of explaining some of that. This isn't going to be an instructional video on how to use it, but I will go over some of the tips and tricks that I've learned and just general experiences from me using it. So this is the McNaughton Center Saver. It is a coring device, and basically what this tool does is when you have a large bowl blank like this, you mount it up to your lathe and you come in, and as you come in, it'll kind of scoop towards the center like this, and it will cut a smaller bowl blank out of the large bowl blank. So instead of sitting here trying to hollow all this out with a bowl gouge or a carbide, it will come in and cut about this profile, and then you can go ahead and return that into whatever shape you want, and realistically you can get 2 or 3 bowls out of a larger bowl blank like this. So it's a really good way to save some wood, especially if you sell bowls. Then now you have an entire another bowl or a matched set that you can sell, so that's more money. So the basic parts of this tool, this is the little turret that goes into your tool rest, and your blade feeds through here, and we'll kind of go over how this stuff works a little more in depth once we get it on the lathe. And then this kit, which is the large bowl kit, has 3 different blades. You have a straight one, this slightly curved one, and then this really curved one, and the handle, which is the one I use. Now this is a tool I don't use all that often unless I have a lot of like big blanks I'm doing, and it's simply because this thing really catches a lot, and it's kind of a pain to use. I've already gone through one belt. It catches a lot. You have to reset the bowl because it tries to tear it out of the chuck anytime it binds. So I'm sure I'm not doing this perfect, and there's a lot of things I can improve on as far as making it work better, but it's kind of a hard tool to use. And I will say, if you do go out and buy one of these, do not get discouraged. I think the first 3 bowls I tried to make with this ended up turning into funnels. The last 4 or 5 I've done, I think 4 have been with this walnut, and then I did one with cherry. They've all turned out, and I'm starting to get the technique down. So I'll share a little bit of that. But before we go into that, I'm going to go outside and we'll show you guys the piece of wood we're going to be using for today's demonstration. So this is the piece of wood we're going to be using today. This is a piece of black walnut that I cut down with my friend probably last weekend. I have quite the abundance of this. So this piece is, not counting the bark, we've got 15.5 inches by 17.5, and then 9. So my lathe can handle 15.5, which is the size of this homemade sanding disc. So what I'm gonna do is lay this down. We'll go ahead and trace it out, and I'm going to cut it up on the chainsaw. Once I get this into a rough circle, I'll go ahead and rough turn it. Said and done, the bowl will probably be about 14 by maybe 7 inches once we get everything in round again and get it the shape I like. So I'm gonna go ahead, trace this up, cut it with the chainsaw, and then I won't show you guys me roughing out the outside. So when we come back, we'll start talking about the core saver. Our bowl outside is all rounded out. I went ahead and put it on a chuck and flipped it around. You'll notice here I have this part on the center. When I cut this piece, I just cut the log straight in half. Since we were kind of out in the field, I didn't bother coring out the pith, so that's why I took so much off the top here. But we have a nice flat surface. So now what we need to do is put a start cut in, and since this is a green piece of wood, I'm gonna come in about an inch, maybe anywhere from 3/4 to 1.5 inches. Probably on the bigger side, just since we have this little notch here, and that's gonna give us room for this to warp as it dries, so then we can finish turn it. So I'm gonna get a tool and we'll go ahead and start our cut, and then we'll talk about the McNulty core tool. I've got our center saver all set up. You can see the blade rides in this groove, and then this piece here, it will butt up against, so as it puts pressure on this side cutting, it's not gonna fly up or fly out of your hands. You'll also notice after I cut that groove, I went ahead with a regular bowl gouge and kind of beveled this, so that way when we start our cut, the tip is not rubbing on the corner right here. As we get into this, it will start to rub on the corner, so we'll have to kind of periodically reposition this just ever so slightly. It is going to have a tendency to bind and grab as it does start to rub on this corner and as the grain switches direction. So you'll notice when using this, a lot of times you'll feel it jump and it could stop the lathe. When that happens, you can either just gently pull it out, kind of pull up on it, or hit the stop button and then free it. One of the main things when I started using this is I would have it starting at an angle like this, where this was almost parallel to my ways on my lathe. If you do that, your cut is gonna go almost straight in and not really curve. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna go all the way through the bottom and potentially hit your chuck, and that's how you join the funnel club. So the last few I've been doing, I start at an angle where it's already angled out a little bit, and that way as I go in, it's actually tending to make that curve to where it cuts the bottom of the bowl shape and not just a straight line in and through the bottom. So as we do this, you'll see me kind of pushing in and pulling out this way a little, and that's just to make sure that we're running in an actual curve and not a straight line, so we do get a bowl out of the center and not just a hole in the bottom. So we'll go ahead and get this thing fired up and start to feed it in, and we'll make our first cut. So we're about 2/3 of the way, I'd say, done with our cut, and you can see how the angle of our handle has kind of changed, because now we're starting to go more in and cut the bottom. It's pretty hard to see down in there, but I've got a piece of welding rod here, and I'd say we're about that far in. So I'd say we're probably somewhere around here as far as the cut goes. So this last little bit normally goes quick. You normally don't get it to cut all the way through. It'll kind of grab and this piece will just come loose. Sometimes you can also just gently tap it with a hammer once you get close, and it'll break that bottom foot and let go. So we'll go ahead and finish this, and hopefully it pops out nice and easy. All right. So there we go. That is the part we just cored out, and then we still have our large bowl. It looks like we may have gone a little thin in the bottom, but again, that's all about the angle in which you come at. You can see the inside and the outside of this bowl are kind of different. With this, you pretty much get only one type of cut. So we'll go ahead and clean this up, and then I'm gonna throw this back on the chuck, and we'll get this rounded off and turned into a bowl also. So here we go, here's our two bowls off the lathe. We've got the smaller bowl that was cored out from the inside. You can kind of see about how much comes out of it when coring. So this gave us a pretty good shaped bowl. And then we've got the larger bowl that was the outer bowl that we cored the smaller one out of. So these measure, got 14 by 6 and 10.5 by 4. So as you can see, this is a great way to save wood, and if you do sell bowls, this will definitely increase your profit, since now we have two bowls which you would normally just get one out of, and a bunch of wood chips. So I'm going to go ahead and anchor seal these up and put them in the pile with the other woods, and then we've got a lot of cleanup to do. So I have been turning these walnut bowls probably all week now, doing 3 or 4 a day, and this is about 10 bowls worth of shavings. So got quite the mess to clean up, and unfortunately still have some more bowls to go. So we'll get this cleaned up. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, like it and please subscribe. Thanks.